Hey everybody, welcome to this week's Taiwan Talk. This week we're going to be talking about the upcoming Summer Universiade that's going on August 19th to the end of August. Today we have Dr. Shin-Ming, who came and talked to us at our ICRT studios. He is the Deputy CEO of the Summer Universiade Games. And he comes in and he talks about one of the biggest sporting events that Taiwan has ever hosted. And it's just happening in 1 week. Let's get excited. Here we go. Dr. Yo, thanks for coming into the studios. Could you give a little intro about yourself and the Universiade, which is going to be the largest sporting event that Taiwan's hosted, with 7,600 athletes coming from 131 countries?
Okay, every fans of ICRT, I'm very honored to be here for this interview. I'm Deputy CEO of Taipei Universiade, and I'm very honored to represent our city mayor, Dr. Ke Wen-je, because he is a chairperson of our Taipei Organizing Committee, and also on behalf of our CEO, Madame Su. So first one that maybe some people have already know that Universiade is a combination of university and Olympiad. So which means that is only second the scale to Olympiad, but for the participants, most from the university students. So Alex just mentioned about 1 week ago that according to our registration, there are 131 countries, and there will be more than 7,600 athletes, if including delegates, some officials, coaches, etc. It will make it more than 11,000. But with 11 days to go, that we are still accepting some registration, which means that there might be more than 140. So anyway, people say that is a large scale ever to be held in Taiwan's history. So we are very excited. And so with 11 days to go, that we want to make everything on track. Yeah, because for the past maybe 6 years, because we won the hosting right 6 years ago, and we formed our organizing committee 4 years ago. So we came up a lot of items in our action plans. It's more than 2,000 action plan and more than 800 milestones. So you can imagine that how many things that we have to achieve. So it's the final stretch of our preparatory work. So we try to make everything on track. And besides the athlete and delegation, we also want to invite more and more visitors to come here. And so I think even though it's not a lot easy to accurately calculate how many visitors will come here, but we expect that maybe if we have more than 11,000 athlete and delegation come here, if one people could bring about 8 family or visitors together, then they might be 100,000. So it's a very large scale.
So you're thinking about about 100,000 people or visitors may come to Taiwan because of the Universiade?
Yeah, we think so.
And what steps have you taken to show them the best side of Taiwan?
For Taipei Universiade, we have 22 sports categories. And so because so many sport categories, so many teams, which I mentioned about maybe more than 140. So we have so many venues, 79 venues in total, and not only in Taipei, but also in our neighboring city and county, including New Taipei, Taoyuan, Hsinchu County, and Hsinchu City. So, of course, the priority for Universiade is to host this sport event. We call it multi-sport event. But, of course, we also want to showcase our beautiful scenery, the feature of Taipei, the feature of Taiwan. So we also arrange some travel itineraries for those athletes.
So what kind of tourist attractions are they going to be going to see? What are you promoting in Taiwan?
Okay, for example, the Taipei 101, all the athletes will live in Linkou, New Taipei, but we will arrange, we call it FAM tool. FAM tool applied to people who have accreditation card because for those athletes, their identity will be reviewed in advance for the safety, and after approval, will issue accreditation card. People who have accreditation card, we will invite them to some we call FAM tour, including Taipei 101 or taking the Malcolm gondola to the hill in Muzha, then taste about the tea culture. And for example, that our National Palace Museum is also a must-see tourist destination. So something like that, we will arrange different kind of travel itineraries.
And Taiwan is sending a delegation of about 358 athletes, give or take?
331.
331.
Athletes. If including officials, we'll make it more than 500.
So for Taiwan, our best outing historically in the Universiade is 7 gold medals and placing 7th in the medal count. What are the expectations for Taiwan in this year's Universiade since we're hosting?
We are host country, so we have the advantage to choose we call it optional sports because we have 21 plus 1 sports categories. So we have 14 compulsory sport category and 7 optional ones. And because we are host country, so we can choose what kind of optional sport that favor to our team. So I think that will be better than our best in the past. So we're more than 10 gold medals.
Which sports would you say Taiwan is the strongest in?
In terms of what kind of sport categories, that everybody will for sure to know that badminton, because we have our Dai Ziying, and because Dai Ziying,
she's world number 1 right now, right?
Yeah, it's world number 1. So it's a good example. And second example will be weightlifting, because Xu Sujing, Guo Xingcun, and Xu Sujing is a 2 times Olympic gold medalist. Archery is also our very strong sport category. And don't forget our baseball. Because, for Taiwanese people, baseball is we call it national sport.
And the 2 tennis sisters, right? Like Zhang
Yongran, Zhang Haoqing.
Yeah.
That sisters that also that we expect that it might have good performance.
Did you play any sports growing up?
Pardon?
Did you play any sports growing up?
Me?
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
Sorry, I don't expect you ask me this question. yeah, because being a Taiwanese, I think that when we're a little, the best way to play is to find a basketball to play in the schoolyard or a park. So for me, I also play basketball, but only for fun.
Okay. Do you have a favorite team in the NBA or anything?
NBA, maybe in the past is the Lakers. Yeah, because Kobe Bryant, but he retired. And so maybe most people will like Golden Warriors and Cleveland.
Yeah, two big teams. Mm-hmm. So speaking of playing, basketball when you were a kid, do you think there's enough support for any potential athletes or any kids that want to grow up as athletes?
Yes, I think that currently we call the Common Sense Authority for Sport is our sport administration under Ministry of Education. And I know that they really put a lot of efforts trying to recruit some young, talented athletes in terms of a lot of sport categories. So I believe that they have this kind of a long-term plan how to educate, how to nurture the new generation to become very distinguished athlete and also to win medals for our team, not only for university, but also for the most important one, Olympiad. I believe so.
And let's talk about some logistical aspects of the Universiade. Before we turned on the microphones, you were telling me how you were in a meeting talking about evacuation plans or just how to control, I guess, traffic or pedestrian traffic. So what are some measures that have or are being taken to ensure the security of the event?
Yeah, of course, because our opening ceremony will be August 19, and by that time, there will be more than 26,000 people. 26,000 people, including about 7,000 athletes and a lot of spectators, a lot of visitors, and a lot of VIP. And by the way, because we have the team for broadcasting, for our culture performance, a lot of interfaces. So that's why we have to make good use of our Taipei Stadium. And by the way, some security personnel, because we also wanted to mobilize maybe more than 1,000, and about maybe also more than 1,000 volunteers, etc. And also we have some medical room that to be ready for any emergency. So this is why I talk so many interface needed to be coordinated together. So basically last Saturday we had a rehearsal for our opening ceremony, but you can imagine that how we invited so many people. So we just also invited a lot of we call it religious group, try to have a blessing for the successful of Taipei Universiade. We had this kind of a gathering, so make it more than 10,000 people, and just treat a rehearsal. And so because of when, even though it's only a rehearsal, but when the program was over, a lot of most people are eager to go back. So, but with so many people, but only limited exit. So, how to make the flow more smooth, and how to guide pedestrian to go which way and which direction. So this is why that after the rehearsal, sure that we will have some meeting, try to make it better. And I think that we have come up with some measures, try to accelerate how people will leave our opening ceremony in Taipei Stadium.
Okay.
One thing I also wanted to make good use of this opportunity to say that for security reason, we have very tight security track. The same track you will have when you want to travel overseas, when you're in the international airport, that the checking procedure is very strict. So something like that. So we want to make sure that no dangerous items will be taken into our venues. So we have our X-ray machine, and we call it safety inspection gate, etc. So if you want to go to our opening ceremony, be sure not to bring too many things. I want to emphasize that no selfie stick is not allowed. It's not allowed. And also umbrella is not allowed.
Umbrellas?
Yeah, because it kind of, we treat like it will become a weapon. Yeah, so we will just reject. So I will recommend that don't take this stuff into our venues. And by the way, that national flag is allowed. It's allowed.
It is allowed. The ROC national flag is allowed.
Yes, it's allowed. But it could not be too big. If the size over 2 meters in length or 1 meter in width, it will be prohibited. Yeah, because you might block other spectators' view. So this is why we don't want you take too big.
So in the news, it says that China is sending a 195-member delegation, 113 athletes and 82 staff members.
Yeah, that's right.
But they are not attending the opening ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that?
Okay, that we think that we have to respect every country's decision. And even though we think it's also a pity if China team could not join our opening ceremony, because opening ceremony is always the very meaningful, very sacred event that we will see how the torch relay ignited to our mother flame, cauldron. But anyway, that we respect, because you know that for our opening ceremony, our president, Dr. Tsai Ing-wen, will come here to announce the opening of Taipei Universiade. So maybe for this kind of political reason, they just want to don't want to have a direct contact, that we totally understand. But we think that they still come here, and with a delegation, 195 people is still quite a big delegation, and we think that it is also good that could also join for this very meaningful Universiade.
Do you expect there to be tensions throughout the games with the Chinese delegation?
Okay, because for China, they came here only for individual sports, which means they drop out all the team sports. We know that in May, because in May we had a delegation meeting in Taipei. Because for some team sports we have to draw which team were against which team. So we have already known that they want to come for team sports, but they still join for individual sports. So I think one of the reasons is that they just want to avoid tension. Because for team sports, it's easier to have tension. For example, when our team against China, then the audience, spectators will have some reaction that we don't want to see. So I think it's also a wise decision. So if are only individual, I think that this kind of tension will be lowered down, will be decreased.
And as recently as July 5th, there have been reports of lagging ticket sales. What steps have you taken to increase enthusiasm in the games? And what effect did those steps have on ticket sales?
For our opening ceremony, I described more than 11,000 tickets for sale, and it being sold out just within 1 week. So for opening ceremony, no problem, very popular. But for competition, because we have so many games in a duration of 12 days from August 19 to August 30, so we calculated we have approximately 800,000 tickets to sell. So today, maybe we have already sold approximately 200,000. For the number of 200,000, you won't think that it's too small. It's also, we still sell a lot of tickets. But compared to the total stock, total tickets that we have to sell, maybe we still have some room to improve. But one thing I want to mention about is that because for this kind of sport event, people in our country, some people do not used to pay for watching the game. But I want to emphasize because there are some historical statistics that 48% Olympic medalists, they came from Universiade. Which means that Universiade is also quite high level. Because 48% medalists from Universiade, when they compete in Olympiad, they also win medals. So it's very high level. It's the first thing I want to emphasize. And second, because for our selection of our national team, which means Chinese Taipei, is determined only until in the middle of July. It's quite late, but it's not only in our country. For a lot of countries, they have their selection for people who are going to compete. So maybe the hero not show up. So this is why our spectator, they don't know who they are going to cheer for. So the second priority is to currently we just want to promote our athletes. For example, I just mentioned about some people, and I want to give more example for athletics. Mm-hmm. We have Yang Junhan, Chen Jie, 100 meter sprint, or 400 hurdles, or Huang Sixian, Zheng Zhaochun. There's also quite good at javelin, etc. Okay, so we want to promote our athlete. And the third one is that we will have so many prizes. If you buy the ticket, whole day ticket only 200. But if that day have final game, there will be 300. And if you buy the ticket then you will have the opportunity to have the lottery because we provided approximately 2,000 prize items. And the total value, I remember, more than 8 million New Taiwan dollars. The top prize will be a sedan, 1 million car. So I think that if you buy a ticket, first, is not expensive. And second, you will enjoy high-level sport. And third one, that you might hit the jackpot.
So let's talk about the economic benefit that the Universiade will have for Taiwan. What type of impact do you estimate the Universiade will have on the local economy?
Okay, I remember about 4 years ago that when we won the hosting right, of course, we won the hosting right in 2011. But about 3 or 4 years ago that we once commissioned a study, a research to some academic institution. And by the way that I remember last week, I mentioned about this press conference by our executive yuan. And so the Ministry of Education or Ministry of Transportation, because the Ministry of Transportation, they also in charge of tourism. And I remember they came up a figure with about 10 billion. 10 billion New Taiwan dollars in terms of the economic scale for the direct and indirect benefits. So the production, the value will amount to 10 billion. That's huge.
And then how about the benefits for just the day-to-day lives of people living in Taiwan? I know there have been reports of Wi-Fi to be on the high-speed rail and the Taipei MRT blue and red lines. And Taipei Main Station is getting smart guidance with the help of ASUS Tech to help people navigate Taipei Main Station efficiently. Can you talk about these improvements?
Okay, that for Wi-Fi, nowadays that when we travel overseas, the first step is to try to surf for the internet and to see that Wi-Fi will be provided or not, because we want to connect to our friends and family. And so, that for Taipei, we're always famous for we're very friendly Wi-Fi environment. But of course, we are not satisfied with this. So for Universiade, we install more app, and because we also got a sponsorship from Zhonghua Telecom. So Alex mentioned about that we will install more and more app. So make it Wi-Fi even more friendly. I believe that not only for Universiade, after this, I think all our citizens will also benefit from the AP.
Mm-hmm. And then how about the infrastructure that's being built or updated? Talk about the University Village or Athletes Village. Mm-hmm. What's the plan for that after the Universiade Games?
Okay, I have 3 points to elaborate. The first one is Athlete Village, because for our history in Taiwan, not only in Taipei but also in Taiwan, that Athlete Village is the first time for we to build an Athlete Village like this one. And even though maybe some people know in 2009 that Kaohsiung once held World Game, but for World Game is totally different. It's only about 4,000 participants, including athlete and delegation, 4,000. And they didn't have athlete village. So basically all the athletes, they can accommodate in different accommodation or hotels, etc. But for this time, it's the first time. Okay. And so we negotiated with the central government, which means the Ministry of Interior, because they wanted to build more public housing, or we call it social housing. And so we negotiated and say that why not? When your public housing, the infrastructure has been completed, why not just lend to us? And of course, we have to do some remodeling, because the building for public housing and for asset village is slightly different. So we spend some budget to make it the function for our asset village. So after our game, that the asset village, there are 34 buildings. 34 buildings.
34 buildings.
34 buildings. And with more than 300 and 3,400 apartments. Okay, that will go back to Ministry of Interior to serve for public housing in the future. Is the first thing. And second one is that because we have so many venues that I just mentioned about, and so we cooperated with not only the neighboring 4 cities in the county, but also 14 university and colleges. And so we make good use of those existing venues. Yeah, because, for some Olympic in the past, that some people were criticized after the game that maybe the venue will be empty, will become mosquito venue. So don't worry. Yeah, because we use the existing venues, but we spend our budget to refurbish, to make it attain the level that the FISU, which means International University Sport Federation, is the originator of our Taipei Universiade, and so make it the level. And so, which means that after the game, that all the venues could still be used by those cities in the county, by those university. So the students, the athletes, could also benefit from it. And the third example, for example, is our soccer. Yeah, so we have 10 soccer field, and in the past is natural. We call it natural grass, but we make it artificial turf, and it also got recognition by FIFA. By FIFA. So it's very quality pro, very high level, and the characteristic is that for artificial turf, it's very flat, and even it's raining heavily, but the field won't be flooded. So it's very quick to
drain the
rain
water.
to drain the water. Okay, so it's just one example that how we upgrade our venue and to be the legacy in the future.
Nice. Speaking of rain, so the Universiade is happening during typhoon season.
Mm-hmm.
What type of contingency plans do you have in place if a typhoon hits?
Yeah, for example, if someday that this venue affected by typhoon, then the schedule will be postponed, decided by our TD, which means technical delegate, and so it's still adjustable, flexible for our competition. And everybody most concerned about is our opening ceremony. Yeah, because the opening ceremony will be Taipei Stadium, and it's just a half open. Even though we have some ceiling in the spectator seats, but basically in the middle is open. So if a typhoon really come here, then we have to adjust, maybe just to shorten our ritual. Yeah, because we have some official ritual, and by the way, we have some cultural performances, but if it's not that easy to just proceed as usual, then we have to cancel part of our program. But one thing is more important is that, because always the weather is unpredictable, and so our city mayor, Dr. Cohen, he led all of us, not all of us, just maybe some very important positions. We went to a very famous temple in the very early morning, 5 a.m. to pray for the God, and so we were sincerely worship the Buddha, the God, to have a very successful and no typhoon opening of our Taipei Universiade.
Okay, I hope it works.
Yeah.
5 a.m., that's commitment. So
yeah, and by the way, I would also say that our city mayor become a vegetarian right now, starting from 1 month ago. So sometimes it's a way that to show our faith, sincerity, to pray to the God. So he also become a vegetarian right now.
Commitment. I like
Commitment, yeah.
it. So how would you gauge the success of the Universiade other than the medal count or ticket sales? What are you looking at?
Okay, I think because even though for this kind of multi-sport event, definitely it will spend a lot of budget. So we spend about 17.1 billion New Taiwan dollars, and it being streamlined by our city mayor Ko-Wen-je, because in the very beginning is 19.8 billion, because we just wanted to streamline the budget to make it more budget efficient. But I think that is something that you cannot measure, something intangible you cannot see. For example, the status of our country, Taiwan. Taiwan is not a member of United Nations, and we only have about 20 diplomatic allies in the globe. So our visibility is always very limited in the world. But for hosting this Taipei Universiade that I mentioned about, there will be more than 140 countries come here. So many people come here, so our visibility will be very high. That is a very good opportunity to let the whole world to know this is Taipei, this is Taiwan. So our city mayor always emphasized that by holding Taipei Universiade, it's a great opportunity to make Taipei, Taiwan, to the world, and bring the whole world to Taipei, to Taiwan. I think it's the most important part.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
That was my conversation with Deputy CEO of the 29th Summer Universiade, Dr. Shin-Ming, who was gracious enough to give me an hour of his time to talk about the upcoming university games. If you haven't already, go out and get yourself a few tickets to some of the events that you're interested in. Me, myself, I'm going to be watching basketball and other events of that nature. Is there volleyball? I'm going to check out if there's volleyball. Tickets are 200 NT or 300 NT for championship games for the whole day. Remember not to take any selfie sticks or umbrellas to the venue, and keep your ROC flags on the smaller side. And that's about it. Hope to see you there. That was this week's Taiwan Talk. I'm Alex Lewis.